Have you ever smiled at yourself? You spend hours caring for others, but forget the most important person, you. Today, we're not talking about being selfish. We're talking about the art of loving yourself the right way, to feel happy, confident, and unstoppable. Learning to love yourself the right way begins with understanding what self-love truly means. It's not about being selfish, arrogant, or thinking you're better than others. True self-love is about recognizing your worth, respecting your limits, and treating yourself with the same kindness you freely give to others. For many people, the concept of self-love feels uncomfortable. We're taught to care for others, to give, to serve, but rarely to turn that compassion inward. Yet, without self-respect and self-compassion, our ability to give genuine love to others eventually fades. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and looking at your reflection. Most people immediately notice their flaws, the imperfections they wish to change. But what if instead you focused on the person behind those flaws? The one who has fought through hardships, who's still learning, still trying, still showing up. That's where real self-love begins. Not in perfection, but in acceptance. To love yourself means acknowledging both your strengths and your weaknesses without judgment. It's saying, I am a work in progress, and that's okay. Self-love also means honoring your emotions. Too often, people suppress their feelings to appear strong, or they ignore their needs because they fear disappointing others. But when you deny your emotions, you deny a part of your humanity. Respecting yourself means giving space to your sadness, your anger, your fear, because those feelings are messages, not flaws. They tell you what needs attention, what boundaries have been crossed, and what changes you need to make to feel whole again. Boundaries are another cornerstone of self-love. Many people believe that saying no is unkind, but in truth, saying no is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself. It protects your time, energy, and emotional health. When you constantly say yes to please others, you slowly drift away from your true self. But when you begin to set limits, you communicate to the world that your peace matters. You show that you value yourself enough to protect your well-being, even if it means disappointing someone else. Loving yourself also involves embracing self-discipline, not as punishment, but as empowerment. It's waking up early to pursue your goals, eating well to care for your body, or spending time alone to recharge. These acts may not always feel comfortable, but they're expressions of respect. You are showing yourself that you deserve the effort, that your life is worth investing in. There's also an element of forgiveness in self-love. To truly understand and appreciate yourself, you must learn to forgive your past mistakes. You're not defined by your failures. You're defined by how you grow from them. Each wrong turn, each heartbreak, and each setback carries a lesson that brings you closer to who you're meant to be. When you forgive yourself, you release the heavy burden of guilt and allow space for growth, peace, and self-acceptance. In the end, understanding self-love means realizing that you are both the artist and the masterpiece. You shape your life through the choices you make, the boundaries you set, and the compassion you give yourself. Self-love doesn't happen overnight. It's a daily practice, a conscious decision to treat yourself with the respect and care you deserve. And when you start to truly love yourself, the world begins to reflect that love back to you in ways you never imagined. Learning to forgive yourself is one of the hardest but most powerful acts of self-love. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has moments they wish they could erase. But holding on to guilt and regret only chains you to the past, preventing you from moving forward and truly healing. Forgiveness is not about pretending that the past didn't happen or that your mistakes were acceptable. It's about releasing yourself from the emotional prison that shame builds around your heart. It's about saying, I did the best I could with what I knew then, and now I know better. We are often taught to forgive others quickly, to let go of grudges, and to move on for the sake of peace. Yet we rarely extend that same grace to ourselves. Instead, we replay painful memories in our minds like an endless film, criticizing every decision, every word, every failure. This self-punishment doesn't make us better, it makes us smaller. It drains our energy, lowers our confidence, and makes us believe that we're undeserving of happiness. The truth is, self-forgiveness is not weakness. It's a declaration of growth. Forgiving yourself begins with self-awareness. You must first acknowledge what happened without excuses or denial. Face the reality of your actions, but do so with compassion. Imagine a close friend who made the same mistake you did. Would you hate them forever? Or would you understand, comfort, and encourage them to do better next time? The same kindness you'd show that friend is the kindness you owe yourself. You are human, and being human means being imperfect. Once you acknowledge your pain, it's important to learn from it. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? How can I grow from it? Every mistake carries a lesson, sometimes about trust, patience, boundaries, or self-worth. The moment you find that lesson, your pain transforms into wisdom. Forgiveness is not about erasing the past. It's about rewriting the meaning of it. You can't change what happened, but you can decide what it means for your future. Self-forgiveness also requires acceptance. Accept that you cannot control everything. Accept that you were still learning. Accept that you may have hurt others or yourself, but that you're capable of change. Acceptance doesn't mean indifference. It means understanding that your past actions do not define your worth. The ability to forgive yourself is proof that your heart is strong enough to heal. Another important part of forgiveness is letting go of the need for perfection. Many people hold on to guilt because they believe that only by feeling guilty can they prove they care. But that's not true. You can care deeply and still choose peace. You can take responsibility and still move forward with self-compassion. Carrying guilt doesn't make you noble, it makes you stuck. Letting go, on the other hand, opens you up to new possibilities and emotional freedom. Finally, forgiveness is a daily choice. Some days you may feel completely healed. Other days, the memories may come back, and the old pain may whisper, "You don't deserve to be happy." On those days, remind yourself gently that healing isn't linear. You are allowed to take time. You are allowed to start over. The fact that you are still trying means you are already growing. In the end, forgiving yourself is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. It's the process of turning guilt into growth, regret into wisdom, and pain into peace. When you forgive yourself, you reclaim your power. You stop being defined by your past and start writing a new story of self-love and strength. Learning to say no is one of the most transformative steps toward truly loving yourself. For many people, this simple word feels heavy with guilt. We worry that saying no will make others think we are rude, selfish, or unkind. We fear rejection or conflict, so we keep saying yes, even when every part of us is exhausted, anxious, or unhappy. But here's the truth. Saying no is not a sign of selfishness. It's an act of self-respect. It's about recognizing that your time, your energy, and your mental peace are valuable. Every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're also saying no to something that truly matters: your rest, your passions, your well-being. Over time, this constant people-pleasing erodes your sense of self. You start living your life based on other people's expectations instead of your own values. You may look successful on the outside, but inside you feel empty and resentful. Setting boundaries, therefore, is not about building walls. It's about defining your limits so that you can live authentically and peacefully. To begin this practice, you first need clarity about what truly matters to you. What are your priorities? What activities, relationships, or habits drain you rather than uplift you? Once you understand what aligns with your values, it becomes easier to recognize when to say yes and when to say no. This clarity turns your boundaries into a form of self-care, not a defense mechanism. Of course, learning to say no takes courage. At first, it feels uncomfortable. You might fear disappointing people or losing connections. But healthy relationships are not built on constant agreement. They're built on honesty and mutual respect. When you say no from a place of authenticity and kindness, you're not rejecting the person. You're simply honoring your own needs. People who truly care about you will understand and respect that. Those who don't were benefiting from your lack of boundaries, not your kindness. It's also important to remember that you don't owe anyone long explanations or excuses. A simple "I can't right now" or "that doesn't work for me" is enough. The moment you start over-explaining, you give others the power to challenge your decision. You have every right to protect your peace without guilt. There's another layer to saying no that's often overlooked: learning to say no to your inner critic. Sometimes, the harshest demands don't come from others, they come from within. That voice that says you must always be productive, always available, always perfect, it's the same voice that burns you out. Saying no to that voice means giving yourself permission to rest, to slow down, to simply be. With time, setting boundaries becomes an act of love, not rebellion. You begin to notice how much lighter and freer you feel. You have more energy for the things and people that truly matter. You stop chasing approval and start building self-trust. The more you honor your own boundaries, the more confidence you gain in your worth. In the end, learning to say no is about reclaiming your power, the power to decide how you live, how you love, and how you spend your time. It's about realizing that your needs are not a burden. They are a priority. When you protect your peace, you create space for joy, creativity, and authenticity to grow. And that, ultimately, is one of the purest expressions of self-love. Taking care of your body and mind is not just a routine, it's a declaration that you matter. In a world that glorifies busyness, many people forget to pause and care for themselves. They run from task to task, meeting everyone's expectations while neglecting their own needs. But the truth is simple. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Self-care isn't indulgence. It's survival. It's the foundation on which all other forms of love, success, and happiness are built. Caring for your body begins with awareness. Your body is constantly communicating with you through tiredness, hunger, tension, and even the urge to move or rest. Yet, many of us ignore these signals in the name of productivity. Loving yourself means listening to what your body is trying to tell you. Eat nourishing food, not out of guilt or restriction, but because your body deserves to be fueled with care. Move in ways that bring you joy, whether it's dancing, running, yoga, or simply walking under the sun. These small acts of attention are not about achieving a perfect body. They are about maintaining a strong, peaceful home for your soul. Equally important is caring for your mind. In the age of constant stimulation, your mental space can quickly become cluttered. Negative thoughts, comparisons, and the pressure to always do more can drain your inner peace. Loving yourself means creating moments of stillness to reconnect with your inner world. Meditation, journaling, deep breathing, or simply spending time in silence are not luxuries. They are ways to recharge your spirit. When you take care of your mind, you begin to notice how your thoughts shape your emotions and how your emotions influence your actions. By nurturing calmness and awareness, you begin to live with greater clarity and purpose. Rest is another form of self-love often undervalued. Many people wear exhaustion like a badge of honor, believing that rest equals laziness. But your body and mind need recovery just as much as they need activity. Rest allows your creativity to flow, your energy to renew, and your perspective to reset. Giving yourself permission to rest is giving yourself permission to exist without conditions, to be worthy even when you're not producing or achieving. Taking care of yourself also includes emotional hygiene, the practice of cleansing your mind from negativity, toxic environments, and harmful relationships. If something or someone constantly makes you feel drained or unworthy, it's okay to step away. Protecting your peace is not weakness, it's wisdom. Surround yourself with people and environments that nurture your growth and remind you of your worth. Moreover, self-care doesn't have to be extravagant. It can be as simple as drinking a glass of water, reading a few pages of a book, or taking a quiet walk at sunset. What matters is the intention behind it, the silent message you send yourself. I am worth this moment. The more you treat yourself with kindness and consistency, the more you reinforce the belief that you deserve love and care. Eventually, caring for your body and mind transforms the way you see yourself. You stop seeking validation from others because you've built a deep trust within. You realize that your relationship with yourself is the longest and most important one you'll ever have. And when that relationship is rooted in respect, patience, and compassion, everything else in your life begins to align. True self-love isn't loud or dramatic. It's in the quiet choices you make every day, to rest, to breathe, to nourish, to forgive. It's in how you show up for yourself, even when no one else sees it. When you take care of your body and mind, you're not just surviving. You're honoring the miracle of being alive. Comparing yourself to others is one of the most common ways people lose sight of their own worth. From a young age, we are conditioned to measure our success by external standards, grades, appearance, money, or social approval. In the age of social media, this pressure has multiplied. With just a few swipes, we see carefully curated lives that make our own seem smaller, duller, and less meaningful. But learning to love yourself means breaking free from that trap. It's about realizing that comparison is the thief of joy, and the only person you need to compete with is the one you were yesterday. Every person's journey is different. Some bloom early while others take longer to find their light. Some walk straight paths while others wander through storms before reaching peace. The timeline of your life cannot and should not be measured against someone else's. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you rob yourself of the chance to appreciate your unique growth. You focus on what you lack instead of what you've achieved. And slowly, you begin to believe that you are not enough. But the truth is, you are not behind. You are on your own timeline. Every struggle, every pause, every detour is part of your unfolding story. Loving yourself means learning to celebrate your small wins and progress instead of dismissing them because someone else seems further ahead. It means shifting your focus from, "Why am I not there yet?" to "Look how far I've come." To stop comparing, you must cultivate gratitude. Gratitude grounds you in the present and reminds you of what's already good in your life. It doesn't mean settling. It means acknowledging your blessings without needing to measure them against someone else's. When you practice gratitude daily, even in simple forms like journaling or quiet reflection, you train your mind to see abundance instead of scarcity. Another powerful way to overcome comparison is by reframing how you see others' success. Instead of letting their achievements trigger your insecurity, let them inspire you. Their success doesn't diminish yours. It proves that something beautiful is possible. You can admire others without feeling inadequate. The light of another person does not dim your own. It can guide you to shine even brighter. At the same time, be mindful of what you consume. Social media can easily distort reality, showing only the highlight reels of others while hiding their struggles. If certain content consistently makes you feel less than, it's okay to step back. Protect your mental space. Follow people who uplift you, who remind you that growth is not linear, and who encourage authenticity over perfection. The deepest shift happens when you start defining success on your own terms. What does a meaningful life look like to you? Maybe it's not fame or wealth, but peace, purpose, and freedom. Maybe success is waking up each day feeling proud of who you're becoming. When your values guide your actions, comparison loses its grip on your mind. You stop chasing validation and start living with intention. In the end, learning to love yourself means accepting that you are enough. Not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are. There will always be someone richer, smarter, or more talented, but there will never be another you. Your voice, your experiences, your kindness, these are irreplaceable. When you stop comparing, you start seeing your own light clearly. You begin to bloom in your own season, at your own pace, and that, more than anything else, is what it means to love yourself the right way. Loving yourself isn't selfish. It's about honoring who you truly are. Take a moment today to listen to your heart, to care for your soul, because when you truly love yourself, everything around you begins to change. If this message touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to spread this positive energy.